Even folks, welcome to the Leeds View instant match reaction after a Leeds United 0, Brentford 0 in the Premier League game week 31 down, a point on the board. We will ask you if that's a good point or a bad point. I'm going to just pause for a second because I want to stick a poll in the chat. I want to know your thoughts on this. So I am going to stick a poll up and I'm going to ask you a straightforward question. Good point or not? Sorry, just good point, yes or no? And you can let me know, and I'll leave that up for the entire stream, and you can make a decision on that. If you listen to the audio, sorry, you won't have that. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well. I've got to be honest with you, I'm knackered after that one. Really am. I felt like I went through all the different emotions in that game. There were moments where I felt like I was a little bit nervy that we might throw it away. There were moments where I thought we're going to get something here and we're going to nick a goal. But ultimately ends up being a point. And I suppose, look, the short answer on this is we will know at the end of this weekend whether that's a good point or a bad point. And unfortunately, if you're the teams that are down there around us, if you're West Ham going away to Villa now, you're thinking, we get a win, we can pull them back in. Probably the main advantage this weekend is the fact that for Spurs are playing Forest, so someone's dropping points there. If they draw with each other, it's as you were. You're another game down. One of them loses, someone gains ground, but somebody falls further away. We gain a point on them. So yeah, it's a weird week. I will get your comments in the second half of this. I'll give you my initial thoughts on this. Overall, we started slow. I thought it was an incredibly sloppy. I'm saying we started slow. Either we started slow or they started very fast. And we can't underestimate. Brentford have had a very, very good season. They're 7th in the Premier League. They're chasing Europe. And they're not there for no reason. They're an incredibly well-organised side. As much as I hate to say it, and I've been proven wrong on this, they've got a very good manager who knows what he's doing. And he's got good players. They're very well organised. They've got a very strong midfield. And I think for large amounts of that game, Leeds nullified their midfield. I thought our defenders did a cracking job of nullifying their attackers and limiting them to very few chances. Between Pascal Struijk and Jacobiol, they handled Thiago, who is on red-hot form, really, really well. So there's that aspect of it where you think, from a defensive perspective, really good performance. Carl Darlow made some good decisions during that game of when to come and collect the ball. His handling was good. So they did their job. So if we're looking at this from different ways, my hand's down in a minute. The defense have done their job really, really well. I thought Struijk, Rodon, and Biol are very, very strong. Getting forward as well. Struijk and Rodon getting forward as well and giving options was good. The wing backs, I think we missed Gabby Goodmunson tonight. I think we missed his natural bombing runs forward. James Justin was he's more of a defender. He's a right footer as well. So he naturally comes inside more than going outside. I kind of thought before again that might actually catch them off guard a little bit. It didn't really, but still a solid defensive game from him. So from that perspective, very, very good. Midfield was going to be a battle. They've Jensen, they've Henderson in there. They have a good midfield. I get the other names of the players that are in there as well, actually, because it wasn't just those two. Jensen was very good. Yarmolik is in there as well. Very strong midfield, technically very good midfield. Jensen was very busy in that first half on the ball an awful lot, but Leeds limited what he could actually do with it. So again, from that perspective, solid, good work by the midfield defensively. Tadej Nambadu started shaky, but really came into that game. I thought by the end of the game, he had a very, very good game. Anton Stach, I thought, again, just grew into the game, quietly went about his job, very solid throughout the match. Really, really good. The issue was, I don't want to blame the attackers. I don't want to blame anybody for anything here. I just thought there was a lack of quality in the final third with the last ball. And I think you could say the same for Brentford as well. I think both sides, as was described on commentary, huffed and puffed a little bit without blowing anything down. I think both sides were limited to half chances or blocked shots. I mean, James Justin hits a volley at one point and I thought it was going to fly into the top corner. It was blocked. Tanaka has a shot that's blocked. There were moments. Then Dominic Calvert-Lewin half a touch away from being in behind and a heavy touch catches him out. So there were moments in that where you wanted a bit of luck or a bit of quality in that last few minutes just to find that final pass and get in behind. But it wasn't to be. But it's one of those games where it's tough to analyze. I think at the start of the game, and I said it, we have to go win this game. We have to attack it. The team sheet was what I wanted to see. I thought we got the starting 11 that I wanted. But as the first half went out, we saw Lucas Mecha drop more and more to the left-hand side and in behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And I don't think he's at his best there. Mecha had a rocket of a strike in the first half. It's good save by Kelleher. But for me, his best position is up front, playing off Calvert-Lewin or playing with him. And I think we kind of just maybe We could have gone for it with there and put Aronson in behind, like we did against Chelsea in the second half against Man City. But I think that's where we just kind of pulled the reins back a little bit and asked him to play more wide. And I think Aronson benefits from that as well because he's more space to run around in. He's more free space to pick up second balls on the half turn. And I think he's very good at that. But it gets a bit congested in there when there's two of them in there and the midfield are pushing on as well. So maybe that's an area that we can be a little bit critical of. And I say a little bit critical of. There's not a huge amount I think you can be massively critical about. It wasn't like we created tons of clear-cut chances. That's probably the criticism. Didn't create enough clear-cut chances. But they defended well. I thought Nathan Collins had a very strong game for them as well. Again, good defenders who defended well. We're missing a bit of quality. It's what, a month now since we've scored in the Premier League or scored from open play at least. That needs to be looked at. I think Okafor makes a bit of a difference when he comes on. He's a bit rusty. He needs a couple of games. And we'll have to wait now till after the international break and the FA Cup game before we go away to Manchester United and see what we do there. But it kicks the can down the road a little bit further. You're just you're going to weekend. We're hoping West Ham lose to Aston Villa. It's a point gained on them. That's 2 results against back to 4 points. And you're hoping Spurs and Forest cancel each other out. Just a draw there would be a decent result. And then we're, point better off than one of them. And as we are with the other 2. So you're into the final 7 games this season. And you come after Manchester United and you've got Burnley, you've got Wolves, you've got Bournemouth in those 3 games. And their games are ideally you want to pick up the 9 points and be done. Be done before you have to go to London or Spurs, both games in London towards the end of the season. So that's the hope. But it's tricky now. 33 points, I think that leaves us on. I'm just going to double check that. I think we're on 33 points now. I'll just double check that real quick. We're still looking at 6-7 points. Yeah, 33 points. We're still looking at probably 6-7 points that we need from the last 7 games. I just hope we're not going to draw our way to safety if we can. But it's 12 draws this year. A couple of wins would be great right now. It would have been great to win that game. But unfortunately, there's always 2 teams in the game. It's not just you and what you want. The opposition are there as well to stop you, and they did for large portions of that. But yeah, if we can get lucky tomorrow with the results of Monday, whenever the game's been played, Spurs and Forest are on the 22nd. That's tomorrow. Yeah, and yeah, tomorrow night we'll know if it's been a good point or not. Overall, before the game, the expectations, I felt a bit nervous about the game. To be honest, I think a lot of people did. There was a lot of people, Paul Brooker, to name a few, squeaky bums, coming into the game. We're all feeling a little bit nervous about this. Some people thought we're going to go and thump these, and other people thought we're going to get thumped here. There was no middle ground on this. Nobody wanted to draw. But I think when you see Brentford get that free kick in the middle towards the end of the game, I think you're praying for a draw at that point. But that's very situational. The expectations that were there before the game were get a win here and it really pushes us forward. It's, a lot of draws. But I think when you saw the team sheet, it was like, yeah, that's fine. That's the team I want to see. This is positive. Maybe didn't do exactly what we wanted. Slow start to the game, but I thought we built our way into it. We handled the instant pressure we got from Brentford quite well. And then we built into it. There was a lack of quality from both sides. A bit Crystal Palace in that first half, a bit pinging around. There was definitely a lack of quality in the final balls throughout the game. Second half, we came out much better. Much more. I mean, there's no point even going through my notes. I've got feck all notes because there wasn't a huge amount that actually happened in terms of chances. We had a few half chances in the second half, but there was a lack of quality in the final third tonight, and I think it showed. But it was a strong effort. I think we went for it as much as we could go for it without leaving the back door wide open. There was a couple of moments where by pushing players forward, they got counterattacks, and we had to be mindful of that. Again, they're very well set up for that. So Tanaka coming on was a positive change. I thought Dan James coming on was a positive change. I think I probably would have taken DCL off and left Mecha on up top. I thought Mecha was looking a bit busier, a bit more active than DCL. But again, DCL is probably a little bit isolated. But yeah, I thought it was a strong effort from the team in the second half. I thought we defended really, really well. And that's an aspect of the game we've talked about in a positive. Referee, a couple of moments. Nothing major. Kept himself pretty quiet, which was great. But you can see the momentum graph down below for those that are watching it. That start is right there. The front where we didn't start well, but then it's kind of 50-50 for most of the first half. Second half is all leads. It's all leads. And again, huffing and puffing without creating a huge amount. I thought Jacobiel did a cracking job on Thiago, keeps him incredibly quiet. Again, he gets taken off there for a Taro towards the end of the game. And as I say, we'll find out towards the end of this weekend if it's a good point or a bad point. I suppose the way the game finished, I'd nearly be like, right, fine, it's a point. I'm fine with it. Fine, it's a point. I'd have loved 3, but okay, just the way it finished, fine. It's a better performance than we had against Sunderland. It's definitely more on the front foot. It's far more aggressive. The tackles were there. Players were getting stuck in, which is good to see. Not brilliant, but not the worst. that we've had this season. A middly kind of game. Again, I say defended really, really well. Clean sheets, important. You know, the goal difference doesn't take a hammer. And again, it's solid. Elland Road, by the way, the atmosphere in the ground was absolutely terrific. You could hear it coming screaming through. I would have loved to have been there tonight. Joe Blackburn was in the commentary booth tonight with DAZN. Paul Brooker was there. Jerry was there. All the lads were there tonight. Would have loved to have been there at that one tonight. But cracking job. Obviously, Mick Jones gets his heritage cap at halftime, his award, Lifetime Achievement Award, the first of mine to come at halftime, which was great to see that. And he got a good response for that. And then obviously it's the anniversary of Chris and Kev as well. So the minute applause and the 26-minute back turning to the game was very well done as well. Fantastic by the crowd, as per usual at Elland Road. But the atmosphere was there. Cracking day in Leeds today. Sun was out. A few beers had. Looked like it. It was brilliant. So well done to the crowd. There's not a massive amount else to get stuck into outside of that. I mean, there was, again, if I go through the chances, just in the second half, Brentford had a chance in 46 minutes. Jensen ran the ball on the left-hand side, shot into the side netting. Shouldn't have let him in behind. 54 minutes, it's Leeds then. Ampadu long strike straight at the keeper. He hit it, and it was travelling. Straight at the keeper, though. 74 minutes, we had a shot with Tanaka. It was deflected wide. Then Okafor cuts inside, has a pretty tame shot. And then 93rd minute, I thought Leeds are pushing for this. And then the 95th minute, Ampadu gives away the free kick, and they nearly have a chance. Lucas Metch's chance in the 34th minute was a cracking strike ball. Dipped as well right in front of Keller, to kind of palm it into himself. That was pretty much it. If you go through the positives and negatives, though, I'll say the first half. The negatives were the slow start in the first half. Lack of control on the ball, lack of final ball as well. Metch playing behind DCL was negative for me. Would have liked him up top. Positives were, I thought the midfield was really, really strong. Thought we defended really, really well. That was pretty much in the first half. Second half, the negatives were crosses weren't good enough. Crosses just weren't good enough. Set piece crosses weren't good enough. But again, they're very good on set pieces and set up well. We're not getting a huge amount of joy from the long throw-ins anymore. You've got to get across the front of them a little bit better and position somebody constantly in the front there just to get a flick on in case it drops short. Positives, we fought for it, we went for it, tried to get a win. We weren't happy with a 0-0, but we didn't get the result. But yeah, I'll get into your comments because I'm not sure how I feel about the game. I genuinely am not. So I'll see how you guys are all feeling about it now. Pass back far too often for me. We've seen that a bit recently. Rajiv says, saw this on Twitter. We get fined at halftime £1 million. Thank you, Rajiv. Another tactical timeout, which, excuse me, French, boils my piss. And it really, really does. To see again a goalkeeper going down and the linesman going, I can't do anything about it. Every single one of their technical staff was outside their technical area. So they could have done something about that. They could have very easily got over and booked them off to be outside the technical area. They don't. I hate to see it. I think it's pathetic that managers are doing that. If you have to do that, what does it say about you and your organization at halftime? It's absolutely pathetic. And I hate to see it. So that absolutely boiled my piss today. But yeah. Thanks, Raji, if you remind me of that. And you made me angry again as well. And more gamesmanship. Tanaka and Okafor come on. Their keeper sits down. Yeah. They have a conflap. Yeah. I thought they had luck with the bounces, possibly as well. Bit pedestrian first half. Yeah, I would say so. Second half, far better. West Ham have Neil ... And Led Zepp says it's either parity with Tottenham Hotspur or Nottingham Forest, or a point up on one of them. Plus, if West Ham lose, it's not a bad point, but it is that one good player. Paul Brody says, we never really in trouble after the first few minutes. Frustrating that we couldn't get a winner, but a point is a point. It is like Ipswich. Was Okafor on? Well, for the last few. I don't understand the match of DCL front two either. It's fine, but we need Nanto, James. Yeah, that's the point. I think if you're not going to play Metch up top, play Nanto or Okafor. Whoever's fitter and faster there. Because they'll run beyond them. And they're natural and wide areas. But Metch is not naturally a wide player. And Nanto will run at players and try and go in on the side and drop the shoulder. So I would agree with that. The only good point, if Hammers lose, that is it. And we won't know till tomorrow, unfortunately, mate. Teach says DCL clearly protecting himself for this England. I don't know. I don't know if the knee is playing on his mind a little bit, but there's something there. We 13 shots, 3 on target, 6 corners. Keep fighting. West Ham will beat Villa. Possibly they run a form Villa on them, although they've got McGinn back. I think he's an important player for them. Bobby says our players should surround. Yeah, the gamesmanship. Yeah, and start getting involved in that. Steve, Mr. White Snake says, I do not believe the refs can't do anything about that. It's like, yeah, they can. They can. And the league could do something in the morning about it, but they won't. Ted says, hi, Jer, regardless of the point, I thought the performance was poor and has been recently. Yeah, but I do look at it and go, you're playing against a team that are 7th in the Premier League, and what are they off the Champions League? 6 points off the Champions League spots. And we're unhappy with a draw home to them. I get your point. I do get your point. We needed a win, says Killer. Yeah, we did. Dale says, I don't feel they came to win. They just set up to not to lose. Cheating ain't sport. Goalies should get a red card. I mean, look, there's stuff they can do about this. Whether they choose to do it or not remains to be seen. But there is stuff they can do. They've got to stamp this out. It's pathetic is the only word that I can think. Big Riff says the lack of ambition in January is starting to show. Yeah, I still think that's a long term. Look, I made my feelings clear in January. I thought we should have signed at least one more. There is options in that squad that aren't being used. We'll know at the end of the season. Unfortunately, Big Riff, it is a place we've got to wait till the end of the season, see if it is a good decision or not in January. If we stay up, it could be a very strong decision because it gives us more money in January to get players at, better market prices. But if we don't stay up, then it's a bad January. So there's that. Dan James made a difference in the last 10 minutes. Yeah, because he ran at them. Pushed them back. Johnny says, missed opportunity again. Yeah, they were there for the taking. Can't find the net in 4. Sleepwalking into relegation. I don't think we're necessarily there just yet. The Spurs win tomorrow, they'll go to 33 points. And they got a better goal difference, so they'll go above us. Forest, if they win, won't go above us. They'll go to 32 points. We still as we are, but they're getting closer. A draw, yeah. West Ham is the one for me. Michael says, Taught another poor referee performance. It was beige. There's a great way of putting it. It was beige. Well done, Leslie. Nigel says we should fake an injury, then something would happen. Teach says, anyone else concerned that we're also playing teams in the last 3? Yes, I am. I'm very concerned that we have still to play Spurs, West Ham, Burnley, and Wolves. Where before I was confident that we had to play them because if you beat them, you're up. If you lose to them, you're in trouble. That is there. Why is Aronson getting a start every game? Why gas Farke not woken up? I genuinely think the 2 behind the 1 is a problem for Aronson. Aronson's best run came when he was in there on his own. But yeah, Simon says, same old Farke. He should have gone years ago, but now he's hanging on by his nails, just like he did for 2 years in the championship. Too late to get rid now. Yeah, but again, waste forgot opportunity. Michael says, yet another turgid, pathetic Farke ball performance. We're going to go down. Neil says, sorry, my messages were messy. No, they weren't. Shit teams relying on players left us. Yeah. Kemp says, don't get why everyone's hating on draws. Yeah, I describe draws as spares and bowling. They're worth something if you get a couple of wins around them as well. Then all of a sudden those points become really important points. But I think if you're not getting wins all of a sudden, and if you get a defeat, then all of a sudden the draws are not useful to you. So it is one of those which are stuck in the middle. Steve said we needed a win, but we got a draw. It's not the end of our campaign. No, it's not. Not at all. Not at all. And again, come tomorrow night, we might feel very different about this either way. We could float between either poles on this one. Players gave it all, however, real lack of. I think that is the major point. Andrew's making it there, and I think it is the major point. I can't say this side didn't try to win that game. They did. I can't say the Leeds didn't have a go, and I can't even say Farke didn't have a go. The substitutions were positive, but the lack of quality is there, and it's screaming. And we are a newly promoted side, and I hate saying that phrase out loud, but we are where we are because of the players that we've got. They've fought hard to get to where we are right now, but we've known all season that the quality necessarily wasn't there. Ronnie is saying, Jer, I know it was an opportunity, but it was always going to be a tough game to win. And I'm not down except worried about scoring goals. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that's a valid point to make. The point was due to Brentford being well set up and organized. It was, and you've got to take that under consideration. It's not just about Leeds. There's 2 sides in this. And Brentford did set up very, very well. You can't say there was tons of space for Leeds to play in there tonight and create really clear-cut opportunities. Even the opportunities we did have, we were shooting through a ton of players, or the ball was pinging around in the penalty area, bouncing off people. You're hoping for a breaking ball. So there's been games this season where we created clear-cut opportunities and didn't take them. I don't think there was many clear-cut opportunities tonight. I think Brentford probably the best one with Jensen hit side net. If these goalies' fake injuries are going to keep happening, then you give the teams a timeout in each half. Yeah, you just lean into it and give it to them, or you say the women's game have already sorted this out. Players are banned from going to the touchline when a keeper is down injured. They've just done it like that. Done. Fixed. Easy. I thought Aronson was okay today, but can't shoot for Toffee. No. Look, you get what you get from Brendy. Random guy says, need to be a rule for goalkeepers. You go down and receive treatment, they have to go off for 3 seconds. Wouldn't that be great, wouldn't it? Patrick Frank says, Leeds are drawn their way into the championship. I'm not sold on it, but I'm not overly convinced the other way either. Man United moaned that they're third, I know. I know, right? TLG says, I'm exhausted from watching that match. We need to create and goal scoring quality in the summer. Defensively, not bad at all. Hate that cheating again. Felt Ampadu and Aronson man the match tonight. Depends on how you look at the game, but Ampadu was very good. I thought Brendan worked really hard. He won the ball back in some good areas, some nice little touches, but nothing in the final third again. But nothing from DCL either, and nothing from really Metcha. It's a one shot. Jones says, I thought Brentford coped quite comfortably with Leeds overall. Very poor. 3 goals in 6 games. Calvert-Lewin chasing lost causes, no service. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Scooby says, how many times did we do that to Pascal, another player? Yeah, the bookings were frustrating as well. We got players pulled down. The foul on Pascal Stroke, by the way, Thiago has a little look at him and then bridges. And Pascal Stroke's lucky he doesn't land on the back of his neck. Nasty fall, and that should be a yellow card. You're not supposed to be able to do that. Andrew Graham says, when will we get Farke taking risks at least for 30 minutes at least? I absolutely take the point on that. I thought the changes were positive that we did make. Would have liked to see them in 60 minutes, but they were positive enough. The danger is if you go for it too much, you can leave the back door open and lose completely. And there is a moment in every game where you kind of go, at this point, don't lose. And it is unfortunately slightly risk averse, but I don't love it. But I also do kind of, there's points in that last 10 minutes where you're thinking, I've seen us lose games here. And if you look at the goals conceded in the 90 plus minutes, Leeds have conceded the most goals in the Premier League in 90 plus minutes this season. So it's clearly playing on people's minds as well. If we can't concede late here, or we get sucker punched and we come away with nothing. And 1 is always better than none, but it's not 3. I'm trying to rationalize this in my own head. I'm struggling with it a little bit, to be honest with you. Alex says, ultimately, we're putting more pressure on ourselves. Yeah, those home games against Burnley, Wolves are going to be really important. And they're kind of playing free now because a whole lot to lose, do they? They just come in and sit back against us. But at least it's back to clean sheets. Yeah, that's a positive. Forest are going to go down. Let's hope so. Rajiv says, but in the vintage Farke, he hates to lose more than winning. He likes a conservative approach, wants control no matter what. I think his skin crawls when we play direct. Yeah, it probably does. And like, this is the thing. I love on the ground, fast paced football. Coached it. I was lucky enough to be in teams that played it. I don't like long direct football, which is ironic considering I was a 6'4" striker, but I don't love long ball direct football. But this team is built for that. And their best run came when we leaned into it. Now, in the summer, you can go and buy the better players. You want to be more possession based. But right now, I think you've got to be more direct. And I think then again, Brendan Aronson starts to benefit from that. I think Calvert-Lewin benefits from that. So, yeah, when will Farke do? Farke go? Yeah. Thought we missed good months in big time. Yeah, I agree with you as well. Just the runs he gives you and the way he goes for it. Man United away next, not ideal. No, but you could go and get something. You know, you never know with that. Changes should have been made at halftime. Thought it was bleeding obvious. I would have liked to see him one attacker at least at halftime, yeah. But he never makes halftime changes unless he absolutely has to. The lads gave it a go and couldn't get the vital goals. Michael says, thought we missed Gabby tonight massively. Yeah, Farke is saying it was a valuable point he's happy with. I think he's not going to say anything else coming off the back of that. He's not going to say I'm disappointed with a point. And I think the last 10 minutes of that game dictate that a little bit. They had a couple of counterattacks, the free kick as well. So I think that's probably there. But yeah, left. Sorry, Christy. Lee says, for me, a great point. Easy games coming now. Just seems Farke is setting us up not to lose. I don't think first half. Yeah. Second half, I think we went for it. I mean, the momentum graph suggests Leeds were attacking, but yeah. I think we'll probably start to wind up. Loads of comments I'm not going to get through. There's a couple of super chats here I will get to. Abdurrahman Al Khalifa, how you doing, mate? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for that super chat. Really appreciate it. Hey, Jared, thought Nonto should have come on, especially because he had an assist for DCL against Brentford in London. Also thought Metcha was doing better than DCL. Yeah, I agree with all those comments. Still a point, though. We need 2 more wins. At least 2 more wins. There is another one to read out here. Yorkshire Roberts says, there have been worse days at the office. Yeah, it's in that middle road. JBL says, Jared, not good enough. It's over. I don't think it's over. If anyone believes performing like that keeps us up. No, I don't. We need to create better chances. Our final balls need to be a lot better. We said that. We have said that. But it's, yeah. Maybe I'm just trying to make myself feel better and say a point is a good point on considering the game. But I'm looking at that last couple of minutes thinking at least we got something from that game. We didn't get caught with a sucker punch. Gabby is back from Manchester United. Yeah, he is. Just 1 game missed there. But yeah, it was an opportunity and everyone's saying it. And everyone's right. It was an opportunity at home to try and get 3 points. Half the job was done, the clean sheet. And I think we've got to go defensively, really good performance, attacking, lack of quality, especially on final balls. Just like recent opposition, they were there for taking, but the last third is wanted. Yeah, I agree with that as well. We're in two stop, a bit clueless. Dan and Ew really picked us up. Yeah, again, I would like to see them starting games in certain matches. Mark says, I can see the other teams winning when it gets crunch time. I fear for us now. I think if you look at West Ham, they've got individual talent that can do it. Apparently, Somerville's missing again tomorrow. That might affect them, but they've got Bowen as well. They've got individual players that can make a difference. You look at Forrest, Gibbs, White, Anderson. They've got players that can make a difference. Our players that can make a difference aren't making a difference right now. Wrong time of the season, but there's a bit of a break now. At least we'll see. My worry is coming back after an international break. We've never been great at that. When we have got an FA Cup match coming off the back of the first, we'll see how we go. We did not go for it though. I mean, the momentum graph would say we did. What I saw was these trying to put balls in the box. I don't think we created good enough chances. I don't think we're sitting. So I don't know. We're gonna play players in proper positions. That's it. Yeah. Valid. Yeah. Couldn't hit the barn door. Dominated second half though. We're staying up. Should have put 9-1. Agree. Our lack of quality is now evident, but it was still a good point. Yeah, split on that. Right. Tell you what. I said I'd finish on this. Jump back in and see what the poll says. End the poll. Right. I'm not convinced of how I feel about this, and neither are ye. Right? 56% of the 364 votes say that it was a good point. 44% say it wasn't. So pretty much just about split down the middle. So yeah, I think we're all the same boat on this. Same before the game. And Free Fallen says we need to get back to passing the ball quicker and stop the tipping. Yeah, great. Agree. Brentford didn't threaten us either. Did that one chance in the second half from Jensen, the counter-attack from Thiago that Leeds managed to get around and stop. The chance, that was the Jensen chance. They had two chances there in the first half that we dealt with. Yeah, no major problem. Could be a valuable point. It's the could, isn't it? It's the could that leaves it out there. David says, can't believe we played one up front the entire game. Brentford likely won't get more comfortable away game this season. Yeah. We ain't in the bottom three since December. Let's stay out of it then. All right, we'll start to wrap it up there, folks. Look, listen, first things first, massive thank you for everyone who's watched the stream tonight. If you could like the video on your way out the door, that would be massively appreciated. Helps the video to get out to more people, helps the channel to grow, all that good stuff. Shawnee says, Jared thought BL was immense tonight. He won every ball. Yeah, kept Thiago in his pocket. Again, he's been a fantastic signing for us. And probably should have been in the team a lot more when he was available. It really was too up front when Brendan needed a rest. Yeah. We're getting to that point though, aren't we? Got to start looking at maybe rotating this a little bit more. But we'll see how we go. Yeah, I really appreciate it, folks. Thanks very much for watching as always. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. If you're listening on the audios, give us a channel rating. Also, partnership with okjersey.com. You can check out that for discounted shirts. 8% off of already discounted shirts at the checkout. You can check that out if you want to. But I really appreciate, again, you all popping in and having a chat. I know we're all in different headspaces about this result. This time tomorrow night, we'll know if it's a good point or it's not, or it gets a little bit more squeaky. Fingers crossed for tomorrow. Whitesnake is still here. Love you, man. Right, folks. Enjoy the rest of your evenings and your weekends. I will talk to you soon. See you later.